Shalom, everybody. Rabbi Edelstein here with a very last-minute pre-Shabbos edition of Rabbi E in 3, brought to you as always by MEOR DC. Let's get right to it. Big, beautiful ideas I want to try to share with you in this short time. We're at the end of the book of Vayeshev, almost the very end, the portion of Vayeshev. And let me tell you that I would say that in this Torah portion, you have one of the most monumental, earth-shattering examples of spiritual heroism in all of the Torah. And I'm not speaking myself. Our great sages say that. They'll say, what? Vayeshev, it's the story of Joseph and his brothers. They fight. They're jealous of him. They're going to kill him. They decide to sell him. It's a whole important story to talk about, but not now. But where's the monumental, earth-shattering heroism? Well, first, let me say that in Judaism, I think we can say in general, most of, if not all of, those great moments are not public moments that we would associate, on first thought with something monumental and historical, right? We think those words, something very, a lot of fanfare, a stadium full of people witnessing some great achievement. I don't know. No, utterly private, like Abraham bringing Isaac up as an offering in that unfathomable act of emunah, of faith that we have earlier in the book of Genesis. Private. No one saw that. Here too, something monumental. 17-year-old Joseph, the apple of the eye of his father Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov loved him and cherished him and showered affection upon him, perhaps too openly, as our sages said, causing jealousy among the brothers. But because he was Ben Zekunim, he was a wise son, he was the one who absorbed more readily and enthusiastically all the wisdom that Jacob wanted to give him from his forefathers. He was the future of the Jewish people to Yaakov. I mean, all the tribes were, all the sons were, but Yosef was a shining star. And the brothers want to kill him. They think he's an evil person. That's another story. But they sell him instead to Egypt, and he finds himself in the employ of one Potiphar, who's a head butcher to Pharaoh's household. Imagine a sheltered kid, a Hasidic kid in upstate New York, never saw an internet, never saw a cell phone. I don't know if there's such a thing, maybe. And the next day, he finds himself assistant to a boutique bohemian hotel in the West Village with models and fashionistas coming in all day. Is that a good analogy? I don't know, and even worse than that. That would be a big culture shock. I don't know how such a person would deal with that. How did Yosef deal with it? But his master's wife had a crush on him. It says his master's wife cast her eyes upon Yosef and she said, "Lie with me." But he adamantly refused. And this is the heroism. A 17-year-old boy in a country far, far away with no one to see anything that he might do if he would succumb. And it wasn't a one-time temptation. The rabbis say over and over with different dresses and different styles of dress, she tried to interest him and seduce him, but he adamantly refused. He said to his master's wife, "Look, with me, my master doesn't concern with him about anything. Whatever he has done in my custody. There's no one greater in the house than I. How could I perpetrate this great evil and have sinned against God?" Now, there's so much here. The basic idea I want to share with you as the time is running out is refusing temptation. Just say no. And he just said no. So much easier said than done. But Yosef HaTzadik, he's called Joseph the Righteous One. He gets that name in our tradition because of this incredible act of self-control and refusing to succumb to temptation. And on different levels, because he describes to her, it would be a betrayal of the trust of his master. There's no one greater in the house than I. How could I stoop to do such a thing? And he ends, and I'd sin against God. The ultimate thing would be the wrong thing. It's morally wrong. He refused. There are many people out there who don't have the strength of Yosef. I don't say that lightly. I wouldn't want to have been put in that test. I don't want to be put in such a test. We should run away from being near such a temptation or a test. But that's Jewish heroism. That's Yosef HaTzadik. Even if it's not in matters of morality in that area, some opportunity to cheat, to cut corners, I don't know, to go with the flow and judge someone unfairly, and you refuse. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to violate the trust that God put in me. These words are so beautiful. Many of the commentaries say symbolically, there's no one greater in this house than I. That's a human being. In this wonderful world, this house of God, there's no one greater than a human being. How could I violate that trust and do something against what God's will is when He gave us the free choice to do it? But how could I betray that trust and do something wrong? Well, I've gone over 3 minutes by far. Rabbi Ian 3 is false advertising this week, but I hope you'll bear with me. Forgive me. Give me another chance. Have a wonderful Shabbos. We should all have the strength to learn from Yosef Atzadik, to, stand up to temptation in all its different forms and to do the right thing. Have a wonderful Shabbos.